What's up, my friends? It is Mr. Gallows, of course, and welcome back to another Fresh from the Theater reaction. Well, guys, yeah, I did take some time out of my busy schedule to hop over to the movie theater and see Detective Pikachu this weekend. I wasn't really looking too forward to this movie. I didn't grow up with Pokemon. I'm not a Pokemon fan still to this day, so I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this film, but, I was hearing a lot of great reviews about this movie. I mean, some people were going so far as to give it a 10 out of 10, so I had to pop in and see it to see what all of the buzz was about. And what is my initial reaction fresh from the theater? Egyptian style. Yeah, guys, I would say my feelings coming out of the theater are pretty mixed. It's definitely a mixed bag movie for me because, look, I mean, the movie was incredibly visually entertaining. We should start off with the good with this movie here because the visuals, the special effects, the computer graphics, how everything was executed and how it looked on screen, how Pikachu was portrayed and even voiced by Ryan Reynolds. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It's a little hard to get used to at first. Through like the first act of the movie, you're like, I don't know about this voice, but then it really grows on you. And Ryan Reynolds was really a perfect fit for Pikachu, and Pikachu looked great on screen too. How he interacted with everybody and how he was just portrayed on screen was really cool. And the visuals were absolutely outstanding. I mean, this was incredible to look at, pure eye candy. But unfortunately, this movie kind of reminded me a little bit of Hellboy, and that, obviously the story is not the same. It's not, Pikachu as the devil, although that might be a really, really cool movie. Someone should write that down. The reason Hellboy comes to mind for me, and this is the new Hellboy, I'm talking about the new Hellboy, the one that just came out this year, is that they feel the same. The movies have like kind of a similar feel to where it's like, it's just, it is so brilliant to look at. It is so entertaining to actually experience and look at all of these amazing visual graphics and how everything is executed and portrayed. But the story, man, the story is just not there. I mean, I was actually very, very surprised at how generic and bland and typecast the story was. I mean, the story was incredibly predictable. It rips off a lot of different movies, therefore you know what's going to happen. And that's what surprised me most about this movie, and that's where most of my score is going to drop from, is that, okay, we're doing a video game adaptation here, right, of a really, really popular series. So this has to be excellent. The story has to be excellent. And instead, they chose to focus on the visuals instead of the story. And really, when you look at it, the story, for every Pokemon series that has ever been created, the story is always good. When Pokemon first came out, the story was at least good, right? I watched it. I wasn't a fan, but I watched it, and it was a really, really entertaining story. This movie isn't. And I would have to say that that's really this movie's main problem, is that, it's a problem and it's not a problem at the same time because, look, this is a pretty good adaptation. It really is, and when it all comes down to it. But the problem is that it's made for the fans. That's the problem here, is that, if you didn't grow up with Pokemon, a lot of the jokes you're not going to get, a lot of the references you're not going to get, some of the characters you may not even understand. And I think that was my personal problem just, going into this film, is that I wasn't really too familiar with anything that was going on in this movie, so it just fell flat. It just kind of fell flat for me. Again, it was really entertaining to look at, and I think that that's where the 10-star reviews are coming from. But guys, you have to remember that, you can't let the movie industry get away with this game, the visual entertainment game. Yes, it's great to look at, but how's the story? Guys, we can't lose touch with the story. Never lose touch with the story. It doesn't matter if it's fun to go to, if it's great to look at, if it's pure eye candy, that doesn't matter. You're letting people get away with not delivering a good story, and that is lazy storytelling. That's what I'm saying. So, was it a great adaptation of Pokemon? Yes, but it's purely for the fans. and that's where the problem comes from. That's why the story was so simple, is that they thought that, hey, this is just a movie for the fans, the younger audience is going to be watching this. Well, no, guys, a lot of older people are watching this too, and your story has to be good. You have to execute your story well, or I'm just not interested. So that means for an overall score, I'm going to go with a, we'll call it a kind of halfway decent score of 55%, and that should be a nice Pikachu yellow there. Yeah, in the yellow range, guys. I wasn't, like I said, it's a mixed bag. Like, I was impressed with this movie in the sense that, it's a great adaptation of Pokemon, but I was severely unimpressed with the movie because they chose such a vanilla, basic, rip-off typecast story to go with it. I mean, this is the first really official Pokemon movie, and you guys decided to go with a bland story like that. It just didn't work for me, so I can recommend it if you're a fan of Pokemon, a lifelong fan, and especially, if you're a younger viewer, I definitely recommend this movie for you. But if you're someone like me who's a bit older, not very familiar with Pokemon, you are not going to have a good time at this movie, and probably not one I'm going to watch again. Alright, my friends, well, that's going to do it for my fresh from the theater reaction to Detective Pikachu. Now it's time for you guys to leave all of your thoughts, opinions, and your scores, of course, down below in the Great White Void. And as always, until next we meet, take care, and now it's time for me to go fight my own Pokemon. Killer Mouse, attack!